Got a good group already. I see. That's great. Marianne, is it getting cooler for you guys in the north?
A little bit, yes. Thank God. We had a few hot days. How about you?
Yeah, in the mornings, but in the afternoons, it can still get pretty warm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. In the mornings, it's nice though.
Yeah. I wonder how the trees are going to be. With the lack of rain up here, we think we're not going to have very much color.
That could be. That could be. That happened not too many years ago, didn't it? Where we just didn't have any rain, and so we didn't get much fall color.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
This is Jen. Y'all can't see me for some reason, but anyway, we've started getting rain, and our color, just to give you a color report, is looking pretty good in Mountain View right now.
Well, good for you.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, that will be great for the tourists.
It sure will.
Yeah, so
that's good to know.
Yeah, come on up.
We've been kind of starving for water in Texarkana.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Drika.
Hey, Drika.
Well, thanks.
That was interesting. So it looks like we're waiting on Patrick. Anybody?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Are?
I am. I'm trying to find the the button to turn my.
Okay, I see you now that you're speaking. You're the Arts Council symbol, right?
I'm not even sure. Hang on just a sec.
Yeah, that's Patrick. I changed it to the Arts Council for the virtual arts conference.
Oh, okay. All right, very good.
Okay. Sherry, can you turn off the spotlight? Is that okay? There I am. Okay, I'm sorry. I was having a little bit of an identity crisis here.
Sorry.
I couldn't tell where I was. I couldn't see my own name. We're recording and ready to go, Madam Chair.
All right, great. Well, we will call our meeting to order, and I want to say a quick hello and welcome to Todd Stein. We'll hear from him later, but he's here representing the Mid-America Arts Alliance. He is the president CEO of that organization, which is very valuable to us, especially in the state of Arkansas and other states surrounding us. And Todd, we look forward to hearing from you just shortly on our agenda. Very glad you're here. Not aware of other guests, but Patrick, are there, to your knowledge, have I missed someone?
I don't believe we have anyone else. So
it looks like Sandy Martin's here.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's.
Oh, okay. Not here, but hello, Sandy. Again, welcome again. We're glad you're here. I see. Arts means business. That's you, right? Very good.
It is. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's proceed then with our agenda. And the first item is the approval of the minutes from our August the 5th quarterly meeting. Does anyone have any addition or corrections to those minutes? All right, if not, do I hear a motion to approve them as printed?
So moved.
Thank you. Does she need to wave so you know who that is, or did you catch it? That was Mary Ann.
Mary Ann.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca, thank you. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
A wave. Opposed, no. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Patrick, you have a brief financial report for us, please?
Yeah, if you'll excuse me just a sec. Let's see. And- Okay. The most recent monthly financial report is attached, and as we have, as I've described in the past, this just shows essentially what our fund balances are and how we are proceeding to move through our fiscal year. And of course, I think you see that the major change in our funding currently on our revenue stream is that we have released our FY 2022 grants, our regular annual grants, and so we're seeing a big. We have a lot of commitment in our federal funds, and also a big commitment, about 581,000 in our conservation tax, and that, of course, that's driving general operating support, and we're expensing those out as we continue to send out process invoices. But as many of you know, we have a payment. We do what we call a grants pool, which is a staged payment of the grants across the fiscal year. It usually ends by May of the fiscal year, and so that's kind of where we are right now. And also, I'll just remind you that we had currently we are wrapping up fiscal year. We have a little bit left of fiscal year 20 federal funds. We are spending down our fiscal year 21, and we've just started fiscal year 22. And so because the NEA has extended all three of those grants until September 30th of 2022, we have these overlapping federal funds where we're still able to spend all of those until the end of the fiscal year. And so that allows us a little more operating. We have not had as many expenses because of as many operating expenses because we have not been doing public programs like we ordinarily do. And so that actually allows us to look at doing a few projects that we have had on the drawing board, and that we will undertake this year. And so I'll discuss that later in my director's report. But everything is moving well. We didn't have a large expense with Art Links this year like we usually do. That's usually we usually budget $20,000 for Art Links, and this year it was significantly less than $10,000. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Any questions for Patrick? Thank you. Thank you, Patrick, for preparing those for us each meeting time. Appreciate that very much. I don't have a long report today, just a couple of quick things. First of all, I want to thank all of you who were responsible for organizing Art Links. I was able to sit in on a good bit of that, and it was very well put together. A great variety, I think, of conversation and opportunities, and presenters were very knowledgeable and very well prepared, I thought. And I appreciate all the effort that went into that. I know it's difficult when we meet in person, but it seems to me like it's almost more difficult trying to do it virtually to get it all coordinated. So certainly appreciate that and hope that many of you as advisory council members were able to take part in that. I do want to let you know, and you'll see later on the agenda, you'll be hearing from these folks, but two of our newly formed committees had the opportunity to meet between the last meeting and this meeting, and you're going to be hearing reports from them. I was able to attend one of those sessions, the one on grants, and after that, Ricky actually had some conversation with me about his desire to have either a staff member or a council member come and talk to the chamber up in his area where he feels like people may not be quite as aware as some others about all the opportunities and support available from the Arts Council. So I talked to Patrick about that, and he is very willing to go and be with Ricky and the groups that he feels like would benefit from hearing about more about the Arkansas Arts Council and maybe making some personal contacts in that regard. And I know staff used to travel quite a bit around the state to check in not only on those of us that receive grants in our area, but also on others that might be needing them. And obviously the last couple of years, there's not been quite as much opportunity to do that, but Patrick was very quick to agree and to try to set some of that up. So I just thought I would mention that to the group as a whole, and thank you, Ricky, for kind of pointing that out and bringing that up. If you just remember that if you know folks in your area or groups that you think might benefit from a personal touch from the Arts Council and to at least get some information shared, it would be good to let Patrick know, and we can maybe help with that some as council members, but certainly our staff will be the most knowledgeable and the most informed. So I wanted to thank Ricky for that, and maybe we can all look forward to some council visits in our area. So that's
Under normal circumstances, that is something I love to do. And I mean, whether it's in person or it's on Zoom, I would be glad to do that.
great. Thank you very much, Patrick. Okay, that's about all I have. So Jen has kind of the meat of the executive committee meeting. So Jen, do you want to give council an update on our exec meeting?
Thank you, ma'am. We met on Monday, September the 27th, and part of my report is reflected in the agenda of the meeting that we're participating in today. We also reviewed the minutes of the August 5th, 21 quarterly meeting, as well as the executive committee meeting of July the 26th. We heard updates of the meetings by the bylaw and grant committee. And an interesting thing was that it's been 18 years since the bylaw committee that the bylaws had been updated. Committee chairs, as you know, will be reporting at our council meeting today. In other business, it was noted that Mildred had sent a letter of resignation to the governor's office, and William Hogue had stepped away from being the Arkansas Arts Council representative to Arkansans for the Arts. A note was made on about Art Links on October 6th and 7th, which we just finished, and it was great, folks. And then the American Rescue Plan grant applications, September the 20th through October the 5th. They're open and will close out on October the 15th, excuse me. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right. Any questions from any of you about the executive committee meeting? All right. Very thorough report, Jen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Now it's time for our director's report. Patrick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, we have just completed our 2021 Art Links conference, and I have to say that for our first Zoom conference, complete Zoom conference, it went off spectacularly. We had a really good program. I want to especially call out Jess Anthony and Sherry LeFew for they are the base team that puts this together and visualizes it starting in January or February of odd numbered years. And they did a tremendous job. And we had some excellent panels, from the get-go. The only hiccup we had was we did have an advocacy panel yesterday with the chairs of the Legislative Arts Caucus, and because they are currently in an extended special session, they were actually legislating, so they were not able to attend, but Sandy Martin was there, and she and I had a conversation that I think was very substantive, and discussed the legislative arts and technology boot camp because of ARFTA's work with that body, and so we are going to be continuing that conversation. But overall, great conference. Thank you for many of you who attended. I know you had the ability to kind of drop in and drop out, but I saw a lot of you there. And in other news, our annual partnership grant, we had a deadline for September 30th for me to file the paperwork for our fiscal year 23 grant, and that was done by around September 27th. And there were no surprises there. We had an off-year grant, so I didn't have to put in as much effort into it. And after having our general counsel take a look at the memorandum of understanding between the Arts Council and the University of Arkansas library system and the Arkansas Folk and Traditional Arts program, we are hoping in the next couple of weeks to execute that MOU with them, and that will continue our partnership with them, which is the basis of their annual funding of $30,000 a year for the next 3 years. That part of that comes from NEA, and half of it comes from us. And that's great because now we have a healthy and a healthy operating folk and traditional art program in Arkansas again, and I'm excited about that opportunity and what it's gonna bring for us.
Could you have timed that better?
I'm sorry.
I've got to, I'm on a meeting. Can you?
I think somebody needs to mute. So anyway,
Do you have any mail?
in other news, we have on the 13th, we're having a discussion. Scarlett will talk more about this, but this is basically an information session between the Arts Council and Mid-America's professional development staff, Artist Inc. program, and a lot of community organizations across the state. And this is a discussion of kind of an information session on Artist Inc., which we are funding through, we are grant funding through Mid-America, and we have a major commitment for that, to bring that that program to Arkansas to serve Arkansas artists. And so this will be a great conversation with organizations across the state to identify where the needs are and kind of map out how we're going to work with Mid-America on that this year. And finally, I am in the process of working with CASH, our partners in Northwest Arkansas. Their director, Allison Esposito, was on our first panel for ArtLinks this year. And anyway, they are working with us. We're discussing them doing, acting as the contractor to bring in, or the contractor, or the, anyway, for them to contract Americans for the Arts to do a statewide arts and economic prosperity study. It's AEP 6 is the current initiative, and that would be a study of the economic return on investment in nonprofit arts organizations across the state. And they've asked us to partner with them on that. And so we're discussing the amount that that partnership would cost and what the deliverables would be. But again, with our federal money being what it is this year, and our programs having having a little more federal money than before, we're able to look at doing this and hopefully get that research, which will be very, very beneficial when we talk to people like the Arts and Technology Boot Camp, when we talk about the actual benefits of the expenditures that we do through nonprofit arts organizations. Those are the high points, and I'm just gonna wrap it up with that, Madam Chair. But thank you for listening.
Well, thank you for that good report. Anybody have a question for Patrick? Okay, we're all questioned out from ArtLinks, I guess. All right, we'll move right along then to our guest today. And thank you again, Todd, for being here. And we look forward to what you have to say.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. It is a real pleasure to be with you all today. The last time I had the honor of presenting to you, I was actually in Little Rock. It's been a long time since I've been in Little Rock, so I'm looking forward to getting down to Arkansas again and being out and about around the state. So it's wonderful to have an opportunity to talk to you today. There have been so many things since the last time I was able to present to you that have taken place as far as our programming and grant making are along those lines. And I've got a presentation for you today that I'd like to share that kind of details those. I'm not able to share that though. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So Patrick, I'm not sure what special button you have to push.
Hang on just a sec. Let me see what I can do here.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's your screen.
That's my screen. Okay. Sorry.
You should be able to designate you. So
I can. I'm working on that right now.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh. I think I'm going to make you a co-host, Todd,
Okay.
and I think that will allow you
Awesome.
to do it. Let's see. We're going to try it out.
Okay,
There we go.
all right,
Okay, see if it'll work now.
I will. Well, let's see here.
There we go.
Who is-
Uh-oh.
Right, here we are, technology. It really is a good thing. Okay,
Especially when it works, right?
especially when it works. Yes, absolutely. Well, one of the things I wanted to start off talking about is just the strong partnership we have with Arkansas. Arkansas has been a part of our region, which is a 6-state region. It's Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, and Arkansas. And we have a number of amazing board members from Arkansas, a couple of whom are on the Zoom call today, Patrick and Nancy, but also Ed Clifford from Bentonville, Denise Garner from Fayetteville, John Gadan from North Little Rock, Garbo from Little Rock, and Melissa Toma also from Little Rock. And then we have two awesome emeritus members, Dorothy Morris and Don Monroe, both of Hot Springs. The partnership with Arkansas Arts Council, I feel today is strongest that it's ever been, in my tenure here at least. We redefined with the state arts agencies roughly 4.5 years ago what partnership meant. What were the objectives the state arts agencies wanted to achieve through the partnership with Mid-America Arts Alliance? And there are about 14 of them, but we seem to be hitting on all of them and achieving all of those objectives for the Arkansas Arts Council. One of those objectives was for every dollar of partnership that the Arkansas Arts Council provides, Mid-America Arts Alliance would provide a 2-to-1 return of direct grant making back into the state of Arkansas. And while it was hovering around 2-to-1 initially when we redefined those objectives, it's grown to over 5-to-1 in the past fiscal year in our FY21, which is fantastic for Arkansas. It's bringing dollars back into the state, many of those from sources that are from outside of our region, from New York and from other places, from federal dollars that might be funneled through Mid-America Arts Alliance. So partnership is very strong. Patrick touched on this program in his report, but the Artist Inc. program is one that Mid-America Arts Alliance has had. We acquired that program from the University of Missouri, Kansas City in 2017. I would say, in essence, the program is workforce development. But we've been partnering with state arts agencies, including the Arkansas Arts Council, as Patrick mentioned, to do the program across the state of Arkansas for artists, and not just in one community, but multiple communities. So the goal of the program is to empower artists to take control of their careers and create opportunities they've only imagined. And one of the things that I think is pretty amazing about this program is that we have longitudinal data. The program has been in Kansas City, for example, for over 10 years. And we have data going back over that length of time that shows the change for artists in their careers and the key metrics in their lifestyle. For example, do they have a 401k? Do they own a home? Is art making and creating their primary source of revenue? So one of the objectives of the program is to build a strong, supportive community of artists. In fact, that is a goal of the program. One-on-one coaching is also a key component that's embedded in the core of Artist Inc. One of the benefits of the program with Mid-America is that we've been able to take it out to multiple communities across the region. So when we first started collaborating with UMKC back in 2013, Argenta was the first community in Arkansas that we brought the program to. It was Argenta and Oklahoma City in its first year in 2013. And we've also worked in Springdale with the Arts Center of the Ozarks, and are currently working with CASH, have been working with CASH in Bentonville for the program in Northwest Arkansas. But the opportunity that we have with Arkansas Arts Council to collaborate on this program is really the first time we've worked with an arts council to carry out the program across an entire state. And I think it creates opportunities for artists to collaborate with each other, to meet each other in communities where they would never have that opportunity. And so we really appreciate the support of the Arkansas Arts Council in the collaborative work with that program. There are two versions of Artist Inc. Artist Inc. Live is an 8-week training course. The key to the success of Artist Inc. is that the training is actually facilitated by artists from within the community. So in this case, it's Arkansas artists that are training Arkansas artists. It's not someone from another town or another state coming in to say, we know what you need and here's how you need to do it. So there's a local flavor to the program that takes into account the community level or state level issues that artists might be facing. The other version of Artist Inc. is Artist Inc. Express, which is an intensive workshop that was originally designed through working with Wichita Falls Arts and Humanities Council to develop it for that community. And the idea for Artist Inc. Express was Artist Inc. Live was really in larger communities where you had more of a community of artists. Artist Inc. Express was really about looking at rural areas, smaller communities where there might be fewer artists, and having a more compressed version of the program. So it's usually over a weekend or over a short 2 to 3 day time period. The core of the program is the same. It's the same 8 topics that we typically have for the program. It's just condensed into a smaller version. So here I show the work that we did with the Arkansas Arts Council in FY21 and the different areas, the different regions within Arkansas that we worked to find artists. Another program that is only taking place in Arkansas is a partnership with the Creative Arkansas Community Hub and Exchange called Art Connect. It is a version of a program that we've had in Houston for many, many years that we were able to customize to the needs of Northwest Arkansas. And it's a capacity building program for small to mid-sized arts and culture organizations. The program in Northwest Arkansas is really a pilot for 10 organizations that we worked with Cash to recruit to be a part of the program. But the core of it is that it's a multi-year program that really looks at some key areas within small and mid-sized not-for-profits. So governance is one of those areas, financial management. We look at community engagement, and there's grant making that's also provided to the individual organizations that are participating. In this case, there are $20,000 grants that are being provided that are general operating support grants for each of the organizations. So this is a program that, again, has legs, I feel, in other areas of Arkansas, and we're definitely exploring possibilities to expand this type of programming to other areas where there is certainly a need for small to mid-sized not-for-profits to have this support at this time. Artist 360 is another program that is only taking place in Arkansas. This is a program that is being funded by the Walton Family Foundation, and it's occurring in sort of the greater Northwest Arkansas region, the 5 counties of Northwest Arkansas. It's grant making and professional development for individual artists, both those that you would consider career artists in their careers deep in, and student artists. There are 20 artists over 3 years, so that's where the 3 and the 60 come from. And this is the second iteration of the program in Northwest Arkansas. Another program that I feel would have great opportunity in other areas of Arkansas, either statewide or located to another specific geography. But we've had really great results from this program. It too creates a cohort of individual artists that may not have had an opportunity to meet each other were it not for this program. So there's an opportunity for collaboration, and the goal, one of the goals of this program is to keep the artists in Arkansas. How can we find a way to work with them to provide professional development and grant making so they decide to stay and don't decide to go on to greener pastures? Interchange is another program that's regional, but bringing money in from outside of the region. So Interchange is funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation out of New York and provides $20,000 grants for artists that are involved in social impact. So there are definitely Arkansas artists that are benefiting from this program as well. And it provides also professional development for these artists, bringing these artists together as a cohort. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that in person with the last iteration of the program because of the pandemic, but we're hoping to, toward the second year of this second iteration of the program, try to bring them together so they can get to know each other, learn from each other. And again, it's an opportunity to work across the region to sort of cross-pollinate ideas, bring artists together and form a network. One of our oldest programs that benefits Arkansas presenters and Arkansas artists is called the Regional Touring Program. And those are funds we receive from the National Endowment for the Arts. This is kind of a first come, first served program where presenters can apply for up to 3 $5,000 grants during any one fiscal year to help support up to 50% of the cost of artist fees of any type of artist. It doesn't just have to be a performing artist from anywhere outside of their state, but within our 6-state region. So that's the goal. The other thing is that there's some add-on for rural presenters. They can add an additional 10% of the artist fee that's covered by the Regional Touring Program grant. So this is also an opportunity for Arkansas artists to market themselves to presenters elsewhere outside of Arkansas and tell them about the RTP grant, say you can get 50% of the cost of my artist fee covered if you use Mid-America Arts Alliance to get a grant and bring me up to Nebraska, over to Texas, wherever it might be. This has been a very popular program with presenters over the years. Another grant program and another source, which is the National Endowment for the Arts as well, is the Artistic Innovations Program. It's been very popular. One of my quandaries as president and CEO of this organization is that there is never enough money. There's always the need for more. So we're always looking for ways in which we can amplify the impact of our grant programs. This one, as I mentioned, funded by the NEA to find other sources. There are usually over 120 applicants for this program on an annual basis, and we're able to fund about 15 to 18 grants on an annual basis. So the need, obviously does not match what our ability to provide funding for is at the moment. But these are to fund projects, new projects that are ongoing for artists or for arts organizations. We love the word innovation as a part of this because we are looking for organizations or artists that are thinking outside of what the normal means of doing things are. And we get some amazing and wonderful applications and provide some support for grants that are pretty astounding. So you can see some examples of some Arkansas artists that have received Artistic Innovations grants on this slide as well. One of our newest programs is a collaborative program with the National Endowment for the Arts called Creative Forces Community Engagement Grants. This just kicked off a couple of weeks ago. And it's the culmination of years and years of work by the NEA in research around arts and military, the benefits of arts, not just for active military, but for veterans as well. And so this is the first iteration of what we hope to be a long-term grant-making opportunity. These are grants of between $10,000 and $50,000. They can be multi-year grants. They're matching grants at the moment to fund some of this incredible work that's going on. This is a national program, not just regional. So I'm certain it's going to be highly competitive. Right now, the budget for grant making on an annual basis for the entire country is $800,000, which, as you can imagine, for grants the size that we're talking about, probably won't be enough. What Mid-America hopes to do after we have 1 year of granted projects to talk about, to share, is to try to find matching funds so that the organizations won't have to match these dollars, but we'll have hopefully a private source that'll be matching them and to make it much easier for the organizations that are participating. But we are absolutely thrilled to be a part of this program and be collaborating with the NEA on it. We've been supporting arts and military work across our region since 2014, and this feels like a natural fit and progression for us as an organization as well. One of the things we've really been focused on, obviously over the last year and a half, 2 years, has been pandemic relief. We finished our very long and thoughtful process for strategic planning literally seconds before the pandemic began. So as you might imagine, what we thought was the 3-year future of the organization and what we would be focused on changed very, very quickly in March of 2020. So what we did instead of changing and scrapping all of this work that we had completed was to add 2 years onto the beginning of the strategic plan and say that FY21 and 22 would be focused and devoted to providing relief for arts organizations and artists throughout the region around pandemic related issues. So we've been very fortunate, I feel, as has Arkansas Arts Council, in receiving CARES Act funding to provide general operating support relief to arts organizations across the region. The first installment of that was a little less than $600,000 that we were provided by the NEA to distribute across the region. Of course, there were arts organizations in Arkansas that benefited from that. Then in something that it has ended up becoming perhaps a great new avenue to provide support within our region is collaborative work with the other 5 regional arts organizations across the country. And that culminated in the creation of a program called the U.S. Regional Arts Resilience Fund, which was a $10 million fund, broken up over the 6 regions to provide general operating support to really what were determined to be key arts organizations that were crucial to the infrastructure of the arts environment and the arts ecosystem. So there were some arts organizations in Arkansas, obviously, that benefited from that support, including Delta Arts, the Arts and Science Center of Southeast Arkansas. What I'm grateful to share is that there are 3 new opportunities that we're exploring with the other 5 regional arts organizations that could be national in scope and significant. So I'm hoping we'll be able to share information as early as maybe December about one of those opportunities. Another could culminate in an announcement in March. But these would all be supporting arts organizations with significant grant making that would be general operating support in nature. So while we've had some early successes in this area, we haven't stopped. We're hoping to continue this work, on into the future. We're all hoping the pandemic ends soon, but the impact to arts organizations, as you all know, has been profound in many cases. Also, the American Rescue Plan provided funding to Mid-America Arts Alliance. We've just released the guidelines and criteria for those grants, which are also general operating support. We received a greater amount than we did for CARES. In our case, it's about 1.1 million for the region rather than 600,000. And so we've got those criteria out and about. Please tell organizations in Arkansas that they are welcome to apply. It's an open call, but we're really focusing on organizations that have smaller budgets of $500,000 or less. In some cases, those smaller organizations have been left out of opportunities that have been provided thus far. And there are, as you know, some really incredible work being done on shoestring budgets by arts organizations across the state of Arkansas. Advocacy is another thing that we do. We've been engaged with advocacy, I think, for nearly the whole 50 years that we've been in existence. But as we were doing our strategic planning and reaching out to our stakeholders across the region, advocacy as a focus for Mid-America came up really high on the list. So it is a part of our 5-year strategic plan. We do work with Arkansans for the Arts. We've been meeting with the arts advocacy groups, as we have with the state arts agencies, on a monthly basis, just to stay in conversation, facilitate communication across the region, and for each state to learn from the other what's working well and what's not, and how we can work together more closely. So that is kind of a compressed version of an update on Mid-America Arts Alliance. As you might imagine, we've been working remotely. We've been working from home for the past year and a half. Could not be more proud of the staff here. We are truly a regional. We've got staff now scattered really kind of throughout the region, and a consultant that we're working with in the state of Arkansas to carry out. He lives in Little Rock. And so that be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions, anybody? Todd, that was a very thorough report, and we are very blessed in Arkansas and our region to have an organization such as Mid-America Arts Alliance. I've been involved with some local groups here myself that have benefited from a relationship with you guys. And I also remember when you got your position here that you have now with the organization, and I heard lots and lots of compliments about your focus and your drive, and kind of redefining things. I think it was a good time for that, and you were very well respected for taking that on and for bringing that organization forward. So thank you for your efforts and your work there.
Thank you. I'm honored to hear those words. Thank you.
Done a good job. Anybody else? Comment, questions? All right, very thorough. Thank you so much, Todd. We appreciate you and your organization very much. All right, we'll move on to committee reports now. And Rebecca, you guys have dusted off the bylaws. Give us your report if you would, please.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. So I don't think this report will be quite as interesting as what we've just heard, but I appreciate the opportunity to report on our committee meeting. The bylaws committee met on Thursday, September 23rd, and our committee members, Ancy Magruder, Jen Brown, Dwayne Daniels, and myself and Patrick Ralston were all present. We reviewed the bylaws document as it's presented currently, which was last revised in August of 2003. And we basically did a line-by-line review, reviewing the document in its entirety. We made notes on what sections need to be revised, what needs to be updated, what needs to be deleted, just basically trying to make sure that the bylaws as a whole represent how the council currently operates. And so some examples of what we're planning to do with the updates, we're going to change the terminology to make sure it conforms with the Arkansas Code. Right now, there's some confusion on how the Arts Council is referenced within the bylaws. We're going to more clearly describe the succession process for the chair and vice chair to reflect our current practices, clarify the timing of elections of our vice chair, to reflect our current practice, clarify the process by which the advisory council reviews and adopts grant panel recommendations, makes further recommendations, and serve as a guide to staff funding decisions, clarify the advisory council's compliance with the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, and remove various sections that are either obsolete due to changes in communications technology or that are duplicate of what is in state law. And so our plan from here is that the notes that we took during the meeting will be used to draft amended and restated bylaws. And then that revised draft will be reviewed when the committee meets again in November. Then we anticipate that the recommendations will be forwarded to the advisory council at the winter 2022 quarterly meeting.
Great, thank you. Question about the timing for the the succession for the chair and the vice chair, was it discussed at all that that's different from the fiscal year for the Arts Council itself? Did y'all talk about that at all?
We did, and we actually talked about making sure that that is addressed specifically
Great.
For continuation of terms that way as needed.
Right, great, thank you. That's confused me for years, and so thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions for Rebecca? Well, thank you to you and all of your committee members. I know this is not always the most exciting work to be done, and you know, you only really need your bylaws when you really need your bylaws, you know. So it's great to have them in order when you do need to look at them for sorting out any sort of misunderstandings or what have you. So appreciate your very thorough look at them and also your very thorough report.
Thank
and
you.
We'll look forward to the next one. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We'll go now to the grants report. And Will, do you have that? Grant committee? You are muted, Will, if you're trying to speak.
Okay, sorry, I'm off
There we
mute
go.
now.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a good meeting. You and myself and Patrick, or excuse me, Jess and Ricky had a good discussion. Jess presented us with some updates and changes to a current format, basically some language stuff, some semantic stuff, but that was kind of overdue and getting updated. So good quality meeting, and felt like we got a little bit accomplished and ready to get into the next level of reviewing that process.
Great. There is a committee meeting report that's part of your packet. And Jess, do you want to add anything to what Will has said in his comments? You're muted, Jess.
As well, yes, as Will said, there were some textual edits that I wanted to make. I wanted to make it a little more inclusive in terms of requesting information on demographics with staff as well as with the board. We had been asking about the board, but I thought we might as well make everyone talk about their staff as well in terms of the demographic breakdown of the staff. We also, one of the questions that came up from the panel that sort of triggered this was the organization's seeming lack of investment in trying to be more equitable or trying to match the demographics of their communities. And there was not a lot of ways that I felt I could ask them to address this and that it would have much impact. So the only way that I thought this might be measurable in a more purposeful way was to modify a couple of the narrative questions to have them speak to those issues. And this way the panels would actually be scoring part of what they said about it. So this would have a little more impact, I think, on their thinking about how they're dealing with issues like that. The other main issue that we were looking at was, this had come from Drika in terms of the Arts and Education in-school residency grant, which is the largest of the AIE grants. And basically organizations this is the one we're asking for up to $40,000 for in-school resident artists to come in and work with the school curricula. And basically the same people have been writing the same grant for years and years and years. So I think the feeling was that they were tired of doing this sort of long grant year after year when nothing really changed much. And so the decision was to make this operate like the GOS rotation system, basically so that they would do a year one panel review, and then second and third year, they would just do a minimal status report that would involve us looking at the budget as well as approving the artists each year. But basically the program was not going to change. So we felt it would save them a lot of time having to explain it year after year. And so the second and third year will be a modified report, and then they will have to be panel reviewed again every 3 years, like the GOS sort of situation. We were setting it up so that this current year, fiscal year 23, would operate as their year one grant for these organizations. And then after this year, they would be falling into a rotation pattern. New organizations coming into the program after this first year would be looked at as a year one in that particular year. So we would probably be setting up different rotation cycles with organizations if there were others that were entering the program.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions of Jess or Will?
And I will add that this was explained in the applications, and we've just made them visible online at this point, October 1st, so people can start looking at them and asking about these things. And now that the conference is over, I plan to send out an email to these applicants explaining all this, but I haven't had a chance yet. So, yes. I'm happy to have questions if you want.
Questions, anybody?
No questions. Great job, Jess.
Oh, thank you, Drika. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so it's time for program staff reports. And Jess, while your microphone's on.
Sure. Well, we're just finishing up the conference. It was taking a lot of our time. I was thrilled with the way the conference went. I thought it was really good sessions, good speakers. I thought it worked logistically really well. And so kudos to Sherry for making all that happen. Thank you. In terms of other things that we're working with, we've just, as Patrick said, we just announced the Americans Rescue Plan grants, and those are out there. We haven't had a lot of response yet. I think we maybe need to hit them up with another reminder on this. We have until October 15th to have applications come in, and then we will have a panel review, at least sort of like an individual. I think what we're going to do is not having a meeting like we normally do, but just have the panelists sort of rank them and then tabulate the scores to make this fairly speedy process. And beyond that, we have the Arts on Tour applicants for new artists. We have a couple that have come in. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to pan out at this point, but we'll see. I think we also need to remind people on that as well. I think that's it, pretty much.
Awesome. All right, thank you. You've been really busy here lately. Appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mika, I have a question. This is Nancy.
Yes. Hey, Nancy.
Yes.
Jess,
Yep.
a question that came from Alex, the executive director at Delta Arts, and she said that she had applied for the NEA grant back in August for a 2-year grant of $100,000. And she was asking if she can still apply for, she didn't say specifically, but I think she's talking about the American Rescue Grant.
Yes.
Can she still apply for that?
Yes, Patrick. It's different pots of money, so I think there's not a problem at all.
Okay, and my second part of my question is, can people apply for the American Rescue Grant from the Arkansas Arts Council and from the Mid-America Arts Alliance? Is it two separate?
Yes, they can. Or at least the message that we've received on when we got our ARP money from NEA, they said that they were not, we were not responsible for verifying whether or not the applicant had received ARP money from other organizations, whether it was their own economic development office or Mid-America or whoever. So they can double or I guess triple dip.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
That's good to know. Very good to know. All right, thank you.
Oh, sure.
So Sherry, you are next.
Yes. So as has been said, we just finished our 2 days of our first ever virtual arts conference. Can you see and hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, good. So I had to apply what I knew as an event planner for 20 years to hosting a Zoom event, but it all worked pretty well with our arrangements for the speakers and the Zoom links and everything. And we appreciate your comments, your supportive comments on the conference. And I just want to say that just like an in-person conference, every member of the staff has a role. It's kind of like a theater production for us with the tech team. Everyone had a part. Scarlett did a great job at handling the questions that came in from the attendees, and Colton did a good job promoting it. But even though you couldn't see Tanja and Brazier and Janet and Drika, everyone was doing something behind the scenes. So we're glad. Yes, that's right. And now for me, I'm quickly going to turn my attention to the Governor's Arts Awards. The selection committee meets next Friday, October 15th, and Ricky's going to be the chair of that meeting, and we'll choose the recipients for the 2022 Governor's Arts Awards. So that's next. And then while that's happening, I'll be preparing for the next Small Works on Paper to open January 2022 at Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, and 39 pieces of artwork were selected by our juror, Ronald Jackson. And as you know, this artwork is by members of our Arkansas Artists Registry. So we'll be happy and hopeful to kick that off with an in-person reception in January.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions for Sherry? All right. Thank you again, Sherry, for all of your extra work here lately. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see who's next. Drika, you're next.
Hey, everybody. You can't see my face. I just had surgery yesterday, so I'm looking a little rough, but as long as you can hear my voice, I think we'll have a good time today. So this past quarter, I've really been focusing on garnering a lot of new partnerships. So right now, I don't know if y'all have heard of the Rocket Lab, but it's a new business hub here in Little Rock. They partnered with the Central Arkansas Library. So I've just been in conversation with them because they actually have spaces where artists can come and set up and literally do their art. So they got a spot for, what's it called? Textile, like fabric making, visual arts. And it's a spot where people can come to literally meet too. So again, it's just a space for entrepreneurs, but they do have an emphasis on artists as well there. So I've been in conversation with them. They're looking to get the word out about what they have going. So we're definitely going to try to work something out with them here. In the September 28th, I believe, I got to work with the National Association of State Art Agencies and presented a presentation on how to basically leverage the voice of the youth through arts to address social justice. So that was pretty interesting because we had arts and education managers from across the US tune in to really just talk about what everybody is doing in their state. So I learned a lot of cool things that other states were doing that I think would benefit the Arts Council because we are growing rapidly. It's a beautiful thing. Poetry Out Loud, we're still using the West Wind Performing Arts School, which is a new charter school here in Maumelle, Arkansas. So we're going to do it on a Friday, which is March 11th. So y'all put that on your calendar so that you can come. But March 11th, we'll have our state Poetry Out Loud competition. And also with Poetry Out Loud, I've been diligently working to get more schools involved, but I'm here in Central Arkansas. I do plan to go out, but with you all, I really need your help. If you, well, not if you, because I know that you all have connections with high schools where you're located, but if you could put me in contact with someone at the high schools, I think it always helps when there's like a personal contact when we try to get schools involved. So if you could contact me personally, or put me in contact with someone who you think would lead Poetry Out Loud in their school, that would greatly help because we really want Poetry Out Loud to be as big as it can be and to represent all parts of Arkansas and not just Central Arkansas. I've been in conversation also with the Arkansas Department of Economics. They pulled in education directors from across the state as well so that we could plan ways to get educational workshops out there. So they're doing this thing where they're trying to just link economics to education and all the other areas too, to be able to provide, again, some online virtual workshops and classes that people can attend to learn from. Art on Arkansas, which is the bi-weekly artist interview segment that I do. It is going well. I've been tapping into getting more unconventional artists that you don't usually get to hear about. So here soon, I have an event planner who will be who I'll be interviewing. But I've been interested in really exploring beyond the basic art forms that we hear about. So I'm wanting to get a chef and again, like just more unconventional artists. So again, I always ask you all if you have any recommendations of people that you think would be good to be highlighted and interviewed, please send them to me. It will really help me if you email it to me so that I can be able to contact them directly. So again, if you have recommendations, please let me know. And I will not talk you all's ear off, but that is the majority of the things that I've been doing and working on as far as arts and education.
Great.
Thank you.
So Drika, if we don't know a specific person in a school to recommend to you, what if we know a principal pretty well?
Yes.
Or one of the other administrators?
Yes, that would absolutely work as well.
As well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a principal, a drama teacher, an English teacher, theater, anybody that you know. But I've realized when there's a direct connect, it's easier to make it happen. So I would greatly appreciate your help in that area.
I think you're right. I'll try to send you some from Texarkana, Arkansas School District.
Okay, and it's for high school students.
Okay, got it.
Oh, and one more thing. So with Poetry Out Loud, I have planned monthly poetry workshops, a monthly poetry workshop series. So we'll have virtual workshops twice every month that all ages and even you all can tune into. So you can be on the lookout for that as well.
Great. Very good. Lots going on there. Anybody have any questions for Drika?
It is a lot. It's a lot going on.
It is a lot. All of you guys have multiple hats even in your own area. So appreciate all the extra efforts.
Thank you.
All right, let's move now to Janet. I see she's ready. Hi.
I'm ready. Hello, how are you all?
Great.
I want to thank the council for helping to do outreach for our Get Smart learning series, the Beginner's Guide to Building a successful grants program. The focus of it was to get people in different areas that we had very limited participation. And we did have good participation from Eudora, El Dorado, we had Texarkana, and we had people from Pine Bluff. Those were areas that we were really trying to make sure that we got people in. Of course, we had the other areas of the state, Bentonville and up in Fayetteville and Springdale. And doing these virtual workshops, I think I've mentioned it before. If not, I know I've put it in my report that we have had people from different states to dial in and be a part of our work. So, but I really do want to thank you all, because I know I kept reaching out to the council to ask for support in reaching out into these different areas. We had our strategic planning workshop. That was September the 22nd. And we're going to do one more, and I will do one more, the volunteer management workshop, and that's going to be on November the 9th. I'm also involved in working with the UALR Small Business Center and the Rocket Lab that Jerika mentioned about the Rocket Lab. Well, they're hosting, we're partnering, being in partnership with them to host a workshop on building the skills for African-American artists, their business skills. The date has not been set for that yet, so working with them on that. And then on October the 22nd, I'm part of a panel to talk about, it's calling Building Our Bridges, Our Differences Together, a Unity Conference. And my role is to be on a panel to talk about the value of art in connecting us across all of our lines of differences. So those are the things that I'm involved in. And I wanted to announce that this is my last council meeting because I'm retiring. The end of the year, I'm going to retire, but it has been wonderful working with you all. Many of you I've known since we first started. So thank you all for being such good partners in helping me to do. I've had to do outreach to ask you to help me to put together different workshops and give me support around coming into different communities. So I really do appreciate that support.
Well, Janet, I hate to hear that you're retiring. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I understand people do that.
I'm angry.
Reasons, but
Not talking about it.
you will be missed.
Congratulations.
It's time for new adventures.
Well, we wish you well and spirit you on, but you will be missed, greatly missed. Thank you for all you've done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any questions about current information that Janet gave us? All right, moving on to Scarlett.
I plan to veto that whole she's retiring thing. She just doesn't know it. So a lot of what I was going to talk about has been discussed. We are planning to move forward with virtual Artist Ink Express workshops next spring. There will be 5 different workshops, and we are in the process of deciding, 1, when those workshops will be, and 2, how they will be presented. There is an October 13th virtual meeting that I've put together with about 20 nonprofit organizations that have agreed to come or RSVP'd. And it's both a session where they will discuss Artist Ink and how it can benefit them, how we can partner better, and how we can create the services that will be part of Artist Ink that will most benefit them in their communities, but also a listening session for the Arkansas Arts Council and Mid-America Arts Alliance to discover more about what artists need from themselves. Basically, instead of creating programs and then expecting them to influence or benefit artists, I'm looking to listen to what artists or organizations that come in contact with artists need in their own communities, and then create more programs based on that information. We're very excited about it. I think even some members are going, some advisory members are going, so I'm sure we'll hear back from that. and Kathy from Mid-America Arts Alliance is wonderful to work with and is helping me out. We do have a very diverse range of nonprofit and associations, coalitions, and museums that are attending. Those do include UAPB, the Lewis Foundation, Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, the Hmong Association, and several from, like we have the South Arkansas Arts Center that's coming. We also have the Art Center from Pine Bluff that's coming, but also some other organizations like the Ozark, the Ozark Center, folk music, sorry. So we're looking to touch a broad spectrum of different places. So not just arts organizations per se, but organizations that are really embedded into their communities and can talk in depth about what they see. So, like I said, about 20 have confirmed already, and I'm hopeful that more than that will actually attend. Also, the Arkansas Living Treasure Award is now open. It opened last month. Now that ArtLinks is over, we already have a media strategy, and we will be pursuing that more in depth. We've had flyers printed, and about 500 have been sent already, but we'll probably reach out in more media ways. We're developing a whole new set of email lists, and hopefully we can contact more people. In that vein, we've also sort of made clear that when we talk about folk and traditional arts, crafts, that we are not just talking about like bladesmithings or that kind of thing, but we are also considering at this point folk art and crafts to include things like traditional dance or traditional something that has a heritage influence on Arkansas, but doesn't necessarily have to have I guess that product at the end. So it's not really exactly an expansion, but it's more of an inclusion, and we hope to by that make sure to draw in more community members, because we do have a large community, including an immigrant community that relies on oral aspects. And in fact, Arkansas has a very long history of traditional music, for example. So the Arkansas Living Treasure Award, the nominations are open, and the form is online and live. The deadline for nominations is December 20th. I did extend that a little bit longer because I'm new, and so I just wanted a little bit more time. It usually would have ended at the end of November, so I just sort of pushed it. That was for me. But, maybe everybody will benefit. I don't know. We do have a partnership with the UA Arkansas Folk and Traditional Arts Program. I think that's something that Patrick touched on, and we met recently and made some discussions and changes. I think everything is proceeding forward. We'll want to be working more closely with them too. And they've also agreed to help share some of our information specifically for the Arkansas Living Treasure Award, which getting back to that, I did contact the previous winner. We didn't have one last year, but the year before, Michael Warwick was awarded, and he has tentatively agreed to create us an award that we could actually make a presentation to somebody. Like, hopefully we can do at least some sort of hybrid next year meeting / virtual meeting where we can make a presentation in person. That would be lovely, but I don't know. We'll see. Also, we have a partnership with UAPB with a music professor to create a music business and production workshop through the Get Smart program. And so that will be happening sometime in December. So those are the things that I'm working on. I think that's everything.
Wow. There's just so much going on. If we tried to put it all on one piece of paper, we would never make it, would we? You guys have so much going on. Any questions for Scarlett?
I do. I have a request, Scarlett. I worked closely with Robin on Artist Inc. and attended 2 of the sessions, and I'd like to be involved as much as possible if you need someone to support what you're doing, but I would also like to be included in the meetings.
For which program?
Artist Inc.
Okay. I can send you the Zoom link if you would like to attend.
Right, and Robin and I worked together and kind of worked through, some of the logistics. If you need some assistance, I'm happy to volunteer.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to Colton.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
I can.
All right, I tried to start my video, but it's saying I need to mess with some settings. So for next time, I'll have that figured out.
Okay.
So for this quarter, we've moved over to using Loomly to schedule posts across social media content. So I've shared some analytics with you all in the report. I don't have anything to compare it with last quarter for Instagram, but Facebook seemed to be doing pretty well in terms of overall reach and organic reach. Some of the other things that we've done this quarter, we've sent out several news releases and e-blasts. We sent out a newsletter. We sent out 2 releases regarding grants, one of them being the American Rescue Plan grant, and with collaboration with Main Street Arkansas about request for proposals for public arts in a lot of downtown areas across Arkansas. And I also made a social media post on that, and that was actually one of the more popular and shared posts this past month. I worked with Sarah on making the ArtLinks website. I think she did a really good job. I thought it was very intuitive and just easy to understand and access and look at the schedule and the different speakers. I produced a video for the 2021 Fellowship Awards. So I had all the artists send me videos of them talking about their work with some like B-roll or images, and that premiered last night and will live on our YouTube channel for anyone who missed it. Moving forward, like Scarlett mentioned, we're going to be focusing on the Arkansas Living Treasure Award, and there is a media plan in place that we will start working on.
I personally found the social media session with the ArtLinks very helpful for, I guess, someone my age who's now found out that Facebook is for people my age more than other young people have moved on to other things, which I know a little bit about, but I know a lot more now than I did before. But I found that session very informative and very well done. So thank you to those of you that were responsible for putting that in the ArtLinks schedule and for getting that presenter. I thought she did a great job.
I'm going to upload all of these sessions to the Arkansas Arts Council YouTube channel so that if you missed it or just want to watch it again, it'll be there.
Great. I'd like to have some folks in organizations I volunteer with see that. So thank you for that. It's good to know. Anybody have any questions for Colton? Comments? All right. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got a great staff. Appreciate all of you. All right, communications, unless someone has a question or wants to pull something out there from the list to talk about, just note all that for your information. Anybody have anything specific that relates to any of those items under communications? All right, be sure you've looked at it though and put those dates and things on your calendar. Okay, any other business that needs to be brought forward at this time?
Ramika, let me interject here. I think we included the list of the panel chairs that you volunteered for and that we selected. Was that in there in the packet?
I didn't see it in this packet unless I missed it at the. No, it's.
We're talking about the committees, or are we talking about panels?
Panels. I thought I gave Tandra a list of the panel chairs. I can send that out again as an email. It's not a problem.
Did anybody else see it? Did I miss it?
It's not in there. It's-
All right. Then,
I didn't put it in. I didn't.
okay, I will send it out. I had asked you, I think the last meeting, to send me your choices, and I had pulled your first choices as best I could on that. And so
Always good to know.
I'll just send it out again. So you'll know what's happening when. Thanks.
Great. Great. Thank you for mentioning that. Anything else under other business?
Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I think you had wanted to discuss a location for a meeting in February.
I was gonna, I guess I should have done this now. I had it down at the bottom of things to do, but this is the right place to do that. So let's move that up. Yes, I had asked an executive committee if we could and needed to start talking about where we would go for our next meeting. And Fort Smith and Texarkana came up. And if anybody else is interested in hosting the advisory council in the winter month, I think we decided to try that for February. We'd be happy to hear from you. And I guess Patrick will make the selection when he sees what his options are, maybe, and we can go from there. I don't know when we went to Fort Smith last. I remember when we went to Northwest Arkansas last, but I don't know. I can't remember when we were in Fort Smith last, and I don't know if you've been to Texarkana. Haven't been since I've been on the council, but anyway, we'd be happy to have you as well. So what sort, do you want any input, Patrick, other than if other places would like to volunteer, or if you want to speak to Patrick about your preference for that? I guess that would be appropriate. Anything else you want from the council, Patrick?
Well, if you want, I mean, I kind of wanted to, we talked about it in the executive committee, and you all kind of, left it up in the air. I will tell you that I'm at this point, given if you track the meetings that we've had outside of Little Rock, we had Mountain View, El Dorado, we did Northwest Arkansas in 2019, and then El Dorado last February.
West Memphis, we've been to.
West Memphis shortly before I arrived.
Mhm.
I would say that Fort Smith at this point is probably the next logical choice.
Okay, we've been to Mountain View too.
And right, and so if you want me to weigh in that regard, I'm going to suggest Fort Smith. I'm somewhat familiar with the accommodations facilities there. They have currently got a lot of we know that there's a lot of activity, a lot of public art right now with the unexpected and the other initiatives that 94.6 is doing there. I think that's the right number, isn't it, Jess? Am I right? Was that 94.6? The Steve's anyway.
Yes,
Steve
I think that's right. Yes.
94.6. Anyway, yeah, but so that would be my recommendation, and certainly we could start moving toward an in-person, but we could start planning for an in-person, properly socially distanced, but in-person gathering for February. I would only caution you that within the next, that we have at least about a month and a half to just kind of keep an eye and see if we're going to have another surge. But beyond that, that's my recommendation.
All right, thank you.
Community trying to counsel.
Okay. Anybody have a comment or
No, that's not it.
any other recommendation? Okay, then so be it. So we'll hold good thoughts that we can go see all the good things in Fort Smith in February. I personally enjoy going to visit our council members' home spaces and seeing what's going on in the communities where our council members are living and working. So I hope that will be possible. We'll see. Okay, any district reports that anyone would like to volunteer to give? We'd like to know what's going on around our state. Anybody want to start? Okay, are we all tired because we've been on the computer for 2 days?
Madam Chair, this is Jen.
Hey, Jen, yes, go ahead. Are you there, Jen? Yeah. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You're
muted.
muted. You're muted again, Jen. Actually, everybody.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Getting back to somewhat normal, the Arkansas Craft School is going to try to have their 12th annual gala. 11 was like everything else last year. Anyway, it will be November the 18th at 6 p.m. at the Skillet at the Ozark Folk Center. We'll have music by Danny Dozier and a live and silent auction and lots of visiting and hospitality. A meal catered by the restaurant, which is always good. Tickets are on sale and they're $35 each. And if any of you would like to come up and visit, have you. Usually a great turnout. We've been a sellout the last 2 years, not noting this year, and we don't know what we're going to do this year, but we're going to give it a try. Thank y'all.
Good deal. Thank you. If you're ever around Texarkana on the second Friday of the month, please come and visit our downtown area, which has come back to life after many, many years. We had a choir concert down there not too long ago and had about 300 people in attendance. The artist studios are open up. We have musicians and other various artists who are out on the streets, and our newest gallery in an old building that's been remodeled is open, and many of the artists are there at that particular time, as well as you can go through the gallery. All the restaurants are hopping. There's an outdoor venue as well with things for children to do. So come see us on the second Friday if you're around Texarkana. Anybody else? All right. Well, if there are no other reports, then I think our official business.
I think Mary Ann was trying to say something.
Oh, Mary Ann, you're muted. Mary Ann, you're muted.
Now,
there we go.
Okay. After 50 plus years, the Art Center of the Ozarks in Springdale sold their building, their theater building. They have struggled financially for some time, and COVID pretty much shut everything down. They're still an entity, but without a space. So they're doing so as of last week, they rebranded, renamed, and now they are Arts One Presents, which was a surprise to me. I served on that board for 20 years, and it's kind of very sad, but we wish them all the luck, and a lot of young, new faces, and a lot of innovative things they've got planned. Tonight will be their first event in downtown Springdale with both live art presentation and music. So great thoughts for them. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I don't want to be skipping over anybody else that may have been trying to say something. Okay, that concludes our business and our meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
excuse me, Donna is wanting to say something, but she's trying to unmute.
Donna's trying to unmute. Okay, thank you. Donna, you having any luck? Donna? It appears.
It shows she's unmuted,
Yeah, it does.
so.
She was asking if someone could unmute her, but she looks like she's unmuted.
My control panel here says she is not muted.
Okay. Donna, we still can't hear you. She was trying to tell someone there's big news about Arts on Main. That's in the chat. She just put that in the chat message. Arts on Main, where?
In Van Buren.
In Van Buren. Okay.
Right.
Arts on Main in Van Buren.
I know there's a lot going on. I don't have the details on it to share for her, but
Okay. Well, we should seek that out then.
we'll seek that out, and I will share it. If I can get that from her, we'll share it with everybody.
Great. Thank you. All right, we've had a great 2 days and a good meeting, I think. So thanks to everyone, and we'll see you soon. Meeting's
Good to see
adjourned.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.